Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for another episode. Episode 21. I got my brown liquor of American Lunchbox Podcast. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up, Tim? What's up,
Mr.
Chris?
Battle?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Awesome, man. Listen, we made it to 21, guys. Before we get started, we got to celebrate our 21st show here. I got my brown liquor, as you guys can see.
I've got something brown in here, but it ain't liquor. We can pretend it is.
Listen, Tim, we can't have a proper toast without Chris, but we're going to toast anyway.
Cheers.
Happy 20. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Cheers,
Water.
you guys.
It's honestly
Cheers.
some water.
Kampai.
Yeah. You guys are not old enough yet to have this scotch here, but the show is. We are actually 21, and guys, thank you guys for being here today to witness and to celebrate with us our 21st episode of American Lunchbox Podcast. If you're visiting us for the first time, you are in for a treat. If you're coming back to support us, as you always do, we're thankful. We ask, of course, that you hit the subscribe button. Up or down, I don't know, right or left. Hit the subscribe button, or download this to your phones, because we do get credit for downloads as well. And thank you guys for your support of the American Lunchbox Podcast. We are here for you. Now, okay, guys, at 21, I'm celebrating both, of course, our 21st episode, but more importantly, I'm celebrating our new president. As of today, or as of yesterday or so, the Electoral College finally voted, and we are now officially not president-elect. We are officially the new president of the United States, Joseph Biden, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I hear all the applause from all of the Democratic folks out there who are just applauding all the way, and you have a right to applaud because you won this one. And for us independents and for those Republicans who may have voted differently, it's your time. And I voted along with you this time as an independent, so I too can celebrate. But for those Republicans, Joe Biden had such strong words recently when he addressed the people yesterday with his announcement of him actually taking the helm. And he had quite a few messages for us American people as to how to look at our old president, Donald Trump. It was kind of conspiratorial in the efforts that he said that Trump had tried to undermine the democracy. Some big words, man. All he did, in my opinion, was test the wheel of the legal system, which is his right to do. Tim, what say ye?
Well, I didn't get to see much of Biden's speech, but as far as I've been hearing that a lot on the news lately. That that Trump is testing democracy, or that he's trying to undermine the will of the voters, and he's trying to kill democracy. Was a big talking point, and I think democracy came out ahead on this one. I mean, it's like, he ran the legal system. He ran it into the ground trying to do it. He didn't do a very good job, but he did whatever if that's what it takes for him to feel good about himself, that he fought the good fight, that he went all the way with it, took it as far as he could take it. Okay, fine. If that's what gets acceptance and that's what gives legitimacy, fine, go for it. But
yeah, I agree with you, Tim.
But he lost. Fucking lost. Hard.
He's been waiting for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim. Do it again, Tim.
He fucking lost.
Yes, he did lose, Tim. He is, and you know what? And the best part about this is that he lost in every form and fashion. He lost in every recount. He lost in every lawsuit. He lost at every point.
Yep.
So when you say he is the big loser I gotta confess, he is the biggest loser. What do you say, Chris?
Well, I didn't hold it against him, or I feel like Biden's speechwriters, because that's who wrote that speech, of course, got a little pissed over the last month with Trump's meddling into the system, if that's what you want to call it. But at the same time, I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know had Trump not been pushing all this stuff. Like we could say, they were throwing around the word sedition. Well, everything he did was legal, like you're saying, George. Just the very fact that this was in the court system means it is a legal process. And with that being said, it could be scuzzy, but it's legal. It is by definition legal. And with that being said, I think I learned a lot about how elections work very messily in our country. I understand we have state-by-state elections, but we also have federal elections, and those are also handled on the state level. That's kind of interesting. There were anomalies. There were some weird things. Not enough to overturn anything, and not enough time to really prove it. I think this conspiracy stuff will, actually grow over the years. It also probably doesn't help if Joe Biden's trying to bring the country together, but also slapping Trump in his base in the victory speech. But with that being said, it was a great speech by Biden. The whole time I was thinking, what am I going to eat for dinner? And I think that's kind of the point, right? Because presidential politics is so boring. We want to get back to other interesting things, like, that hot girl from college who posted a new booty pic on Instagram.
That's the one. She's been quiet this whole time. She's been quiet.
And I think that's the point of Biden, right? And I think that's why some people are concerned about Biden, because it's that go back to bed America thing.
Listen, Chris, my question is for Biden is, why didn't somebody give this dude a fucking lozenger right before the speech? I mean, of all the times, your victory speech now has been cascaded with, it's like, dude, you need a snot rag or something? I mean, of all times, no one had the mind to say, you know what, here, we've noticed, all day that you've been dealing with some kind of, throat issue. Here, take this Halls with mentalitis under your throat. I mean, something, man.
In the beginning of the speech, I saw Kamala had a pack of lozenges, but then I saw the next shot of him I saw was in the garbage. I don't know. Maybe it never got to Joe.
Listen, leave it to Sleepy Joe and the black woman, man. They're gonna come up with something over the next 4 years. But this, I'm trying to ignore it. And I know people are saying the same things. I mean, you guys have to put into the comments. You got to let me know, were you all thinking, wait, you waited to the very end to give your victory speech, to lay it all on the line, to bring us all together, and all I hear is hoarse in your voice? What the fuck? I couldn't believe it, man. So for me, listen, I got through it because I wanted to hear it. But
was that any worse than Trump's snots during his debate?
Yeah, as equal. But see, at that time, it was more funny. This right here was more annoying because it's a victory speech for me. I want this shit to come out HD, audio, clear, so that because the world is listening, not just me, the world is listening. And all they're saying across the world is, why didn't he give him a cough drop?
You know what, George? I think y'all don't
have a cough drop in America?
I think this is why a lot of the, never mind. I think this is why a lot of the conspiracy stuff exists around Biden, is because just from the point of, like, Americans, we love sports, right? And,
right.
If you turn on Fox, you see this guy who's losing his job, desperately begging anyone to please listen, to please let him keep his job, Supreme Court or anyone else. And on the other channel, you have a guy who didn't start campaigning, and one of those guys is the winner. Like, the guy with no energy and no get up and go somehow won.
Well, I
and
mean,
that is odd to you as someone who watches sports, because I get the any given Sunday thing, but you got to show up to the game, and some people think Biden didn't even do that.
Well, it really comes down to the fact that I think it's not that Biden won; it's that Trump lost. It was Trump's to lose, in a lot of ways. If he would have stepped up and done what he had to do with coronavirus from the start, he would have walked away with it easily.
Listen,
there would have been no candidate that would have taken him. Yeah.
I'm going to drink to that, because here's the thing. My goal is to finish this glass before the show is over. So you guys got to give me some pause here while I go for another sip. While I go, hold on.
We need some drinking music.
Yes, that's it. But Tim, you make a good point. It's the champ. You got to beat the champ. You can't go in there just, softballing him and trying to you got to beat the champ. And if you don't beat the champ is going to beat himself. And that's exactly what Trump did. Trump beat himself. And I said it on this show, and I continue to say it. It was the coronavirus that botched his whole campaign. And had he handled that well enough, or somewhat well enough, and not made it a conspiracy or not following by whatever protocols were necessary, he could have easily won this election. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, guys. 7 million people.
70.
No, hold on. 7 million people, right, was the deciding factor in the length of the votes, per se. More people voted, right? But 7 million people voted more for Biden than for Trump. He wanted every electoral state that Biden won, they cast a vote. Now, typically, and you guys know this already, this is the most hidden community, the most hidden secret society in government is the Electoral College. But this year, thanks to Trump, and this is good for me because I've always been skeptical of the Electoral College, but thanks to Trump, everyone had to record it. Every state recorded it in top secret bat caves, you see, where they could only enter in with their palm and their eyes. They had to open their eyes, and they had to it was a huge secret because they were so afraid of Trump supporters coming in and ambushing the whole situation that some states decided they're going to do that shit in extra secret. Not that they hadn't done it in secret for the last 400 years or so ever since the Electoral College happens. But this year, Trump gave me a treat by allowing me to actually see these people who actually voted. And I paid attention. I wanted to see their color. I wanted to see their height, because these people we never know about the Electoral College. But this year, we got to see them vote. And Hillary Clinton is one of them.
She was happy as Tim was a couple minutes ago.
Yes. So I'm thankful because I've always been skeptical of the electoral colleges and how they work. But listen, at the end of the day, Trump did everything that he could do, including go to every court, state, local, federal, and finally to the Supreme Court. Chris, how can Texas bring a lawsuit against other states in the Supreme? How does that even work?
Well, the argument was that by other states not following their own laws in terms of elections on a federal level, that they're actually screwing over the general populace, which is the national federal populace. And the Supreme Court declined to hear that. The reason they gave was because that's a state-by-state issue, and they can't get into fights between states. However, you mentioned potential Trump supporter violence. Over the weekend, there were Trump supporters outside the Supreme Court singing "God Bless America." I think the Supreme Court might have been worried about other sorts of violence if they actually decided to hear the case. Maybe?
Nah, fuck that.
No?
I don't believe that. They've had protests outside the Supreme Court before.
Exactly.
The protesters on Biden's side don't sing "God Bless America." But besides all of that, though, I think really what happened, and George, we were talking about this. I think they really were just trying to preserve their own integrity, being this branch of a bunch of old people who don't have the, as they say, the power of the purse, right, or the power of the They don't exactly have armed armies that they could command. Like they have at the end of the day, they're lifetime appointed, and they have to, in the mold of John Roberts, protect the integrity of the court. And even all the people that Trump appointed voted to not hear this.
All three of them
Yep.
decided that this did not have merit, was the word that they used. Merit, because state by state issues need to be handled in the state. Actually, what they didn't realize is that they made it easy for the Supreme Court at the end of the day to make that decision, because they were trying to set a precedence that the federal government would never get involved with, never historically get involved with. There's only really been those things that have been linked to civil rights and those things that have been linked to women's rights that has even been able to permeate the state by state laws.
Actually, I was kind of doing some research on this. It was kind of funny. Cool website or cool YouTube channel I enjoyed listening to was Legal Eagles, and this trial lawyer out of LA who sits there and talks about legal issues, what's going on and everything. And he actually gave some really good insight on this. And the reason that they did shoot it down was because they thought that the district attorney out of Texas did not have standing to go out there and file a lawsuit against another state. Supreme Court can actually rule against lawsuits between states. In fact, that's actually where they have jurisdiction at. But you have to show, and this is the important thing, you have to show that you were wronged somehow by another state's actions. And what the Supreme Court ruled was that Texas did not have standing. And that was the biggest thing, that they were not wronged, or they tried to claim that they were wrong because of, like as Chris was saying, the election affects everybody and their rules or whatever. But one of the big problems with Texas's lawsuit was they said they disagreed with the way that the election the way that these states handled their election. They disagree with their rules. But the problem is that every state has the right to dictate what kind of rules they want to have for every election.
That's right.
And
That's right, Tim.
But they don't have the right to break their own rules, which is what happened in a couple of states, including Pennsylvania and Georgia.
But why is Texas so worried? He won Texas.
I'll tell you why they're so worried. I'll tell you why they're so worried. And this is actually the root of your question. Why did this happen in the first place? It's distrust. It's just distrust. We don't trust the other side in this country.
We don't trust government in this country. It didn't matter. We don't trust government in this country, period. And when we have these contests,
more of a partisan thing.
But the thing about it is when we have these contests, we pick a side. But when there's no contest, it's always some lack of trust. Always lack of trust. But only when there's a contest, only when there's an election, only when there's a bill, a proposition, do we have to choose a side. And that's that side we deal with until the end, until we get the results. But the reality is that your trust is going to end when that election is over, when it comes to what government, and you should be, and I should be, and I will hold Biden and Harris's feet to the fire this entire 4 years for everything that they fucking do, because I know for sure that mainstream media will not cover it. They're going to sugarcoat it. They're going to make sure that they make them look like the golden poster child for government because of what Trump did. So I'm going to hold their feet to the fire to make sure that what they're doing is either bipartisan or going to help me personally or my community.
Well, I think the part of the reason for the distrust is that, in the case of Bush, when Bush got elected, we didn't know that he wasn't all right. A lot of people found out the hard way that Bush was just a front man for some larger operation. And they found out later. In this case, we kind of have history on our side and look at the situation and say, who's running this show? It's not Biden. He's almost like the guy in the gang who you don't tell when you're going to do a bad thing, so he saves face. Well, he's the guy that lives at home when the gang goes and does the real dirty work.
Listen, I've always said that
he's a nice person, but who knows who's behind him? Who knows who's putting him up?
I've always said that presidents are selected, not elected. They're selected. When you look at the Democratic primaries and the lack of what Biden brought to any debate, He brought very little to any of those fucking debates. He had very little to say until it got down to the very end. But he knew already, you see, because he was selected, not elected. Again, goes back to the distrust. Goes back to I have to choose a side. And for those Democrats who believed that Biden actually was elected into this position, come on, y'all. You got to open your eyes. You got to open your eyes.
Be careful about what you say, George. YouTube has said. I know what you're saying actually, but what YouTube has said now is that if you say anything from this point forward about the validity of the election,
that's right,
we could get our video removed. So YouTube, you fucking assholes. George is actually saying that he believes he was elected, but on the primary level was selected. But even so, YouTube, fuck you, YouTube.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, and by the way, we did get a little censored over the last episode, but you're right. What I am saying, to clarify that, to make it even more clear, I believe that the Electoral College, because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll drink to that. I saw it with my own eyes. Electoral College, every state that Biden won actually went to Biden, including Arizona, including Michigan, including all of those states. Actually, the Electoral College voted for Biden. Now, I am officially done with this conversation. I am going to root them on. Oh, wait.
Chris has his hand up.
Okay. For those of you all in podcast land, as I am saying these words, Chris has his hand up like a fifth grader. And I'm going to acknowledge Christopher Master Paulo.
Wait. I'm sorry. Mr. Battle.
It's Chris's turn.
Can I go to the restroom? Can I go to the restroom, please?
No. You, as a matter of fact,
go in
no
your
hall
pants
passes.
like usual, Tim.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Lower your hands and don't look so excited, because you know what we're talking about, Tim.
I'm just raising my hand because I'm just grateful that after.
I'm acknowledging Chris right now. Chris Masapalo, you have a statement or question that you wanted to add before I close this topic of Biden winning the election?
I'm just grateful that after last week, George didn't install a mute button for me, so I'm politely raising my hand.
Now, for those of you all who are wondering what Chris is talking about, last week we had a very vigorous and fired up show where you could actually listen to it and doubt who was the host of the show. You could say, who's in control of this shit? I mean, Chris was on fire last week, and for that I concede. I usually don't do that, but I did because his point, he was on fire for it, and I let him have. I gave him the show. Show 20 belongs to Chris and Tim. Tim tried his best to bring us back together. He's the kumbaya guy of last week. Thank you, Tim, for kumbaya, and that's bringing us back. But Chris was out of control. He was fucking out of control. Go back and listen to that show, ladies and gentlemen. That he was out of control last week.
That's why he got censored. That's why we got censored, man. It was all Chris.
That's why we got censored. I lost control of the show. They started throwing chairs behind me and shit. The crowd was rooting him on. It felt like I was in the Royal Rumble, and I was the last guy, and I walked out of the ring. I just said, "Fuck it, you win. You can take the belt."
Sorry.
Chris, I'm acknowledging you. Go ahead, Chris.
One final point, not to be too conspiratorial, but just we're talking about distrust and we're talking about how do we get here, right? So, George, me and you had another argument. I believe it was episode 4 or 7 or something. One of those shows where we were arguing, and it was specifically about Black Lives Matter. And in the show, I said that I think there's a big conflict because of what the organization stands for. And you brought up, it's really, most people look at it as the movement and not the organization. But when we see someone working at a poll station wearing a Black Lives Matter mask, we do not know if the people are the good-hearted people you're talking about or the people who I am talking about. We don't know how deep those people are into that organization. And if that organization does not believe in free speech and does not believe in private property ownership, free enterprise, free market, why would they care about a free and fair election? Maybe they wouldn't.
Well, they're Americans.
And this
Chris.
is why I think the messaging needed to be cleared up over the summer and wasn't. And it's weird now that they won, that side won, in regards to it being, hey, you're just telling all these Republicans that all that bad behavior actually works for you. Now, what's this going to look like next time?
And I hear what you're saying, Chris, but we're Americans. We're all Americans. And that is a social movement for the majority of the people. If you look at the Articles of Federation of any organization, because they have to apply in order to become an organization, it's sometimes always murky because they borrow information from other places. And I know when I read it, it felt like, wait, what the hell? But it's a movement. It started out as a movement. It started out as a hashtag. That's what
it
really
only takes
one
out person to not be in the movement, to really be in the organization, to be working at a poll place, as we're seeing, do a little bit of damage. Not that it would affect things altogether, but little here, little there, pepper.
I understand, Chris, but here's the thing.
It could be salt too, not saying just pepper.
It could be salt too. This guy. I'll drink to that. Hold on, I'll drink to that. It could be pepper. It could be salt too. I'm going to drink to that. Hold on. Listen, okay, but Chris, you have to remember, man, we're looking at symbolism here. The fact, I love your hat, man. I love your hat, bro. I think it speaks to where we are. But there are some people who
it's an American flag hat made in China in honor of our new president. What were you saying?
That's it. It's an American. By the way, out there in podcast land, he's wearing an American flag hat. But my point here is that there are in some places in America that symbol, along with the Confederate flag sitting solo next to it, often is brandished as some negative connotation. When I see that in some places in America, when I travel through Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and down there in Georgia, and I see that sitting in front of someone's home, or I see white boys out there, with their trucks, and I see that flag. They've turned that symbol into something that for them doesn't include me, and they make that perfectly clear. This is their America, and unfortunately, a lot of the people that support Trump in those areas believe that. So I understand what you're saying, how symbolism plays into movements, but we're all Americans. And at the end of it, at the end of the day, it's a democracy. And at this point, thank God for the 13th Amendment, passed in 1964, which allowed Black people the right to vote, some 56 years ago. We now can share in the privilege in order to be able to be even in the building, to be able to go to the polls, to be able to be a pollster. My grandmother couldn't do that. My mother couldn't vote when she was 18. You're saying,
so
I shouldn't say
you're
that.
saying that now
I apologize.
all sorts of previously marginalized communities are now able to get into the game of dirty politics themselves.
That's right.
Everybody's got to shake it now, man.
It's not just politics. It's business. It's politics. It's economics. We could only, for a long time, only have churches. Churches was the place that we could actually speak our minds and have our politics and have our camaraderie, was only churches. James Baldwin said back in '56 that Sundays was the most segregated day of the year. Segregated day of the week. Sundays. Why? Because those were the days that people went to their own churches. So you have to remember that we come from a time where, hey, we are happy to be here right now, to have this privilege. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not. But at the end of it all, the foundation is our democracy. And the democracy worked this time. And I'm going to go with that. I'm going to let that ride. And all of the Trump supporters, you can continue to do what you're going to do, because that's your right, as long as it doesn't impede in my rights. Because what I don't want to do is have an opposing posse. I don't want that. I want us all to move forward.
Right.
That's it.
Hey, George, in terms of constitutional amendments, you think we could get a new one about hashtag free the nip?
You know what, Chris? That takes us into how was your week, Chris? How was your week this week, by the way? Because I know
I've been suppressed and censored.
I know you.
by big
I
tech.
got to talk to you, man. You got to talk to the people, man. You got to let us know what's going on, man. First of all, tell us about your week, but tell us what you do for the show in regards to how we market the show and how the censorship just crept into Venice Beach over the last week.
Well, besides trying to rev up George, my role on the show is I do the weekly artwork for the show, whether it be a photograph or a picture or some sort of editing magic. And last week there was a picture of very PG. It was one wrestler giving another wrestler a headlock. One of the clearly wrestlers doing a clear wrestling move, wearing face masks, Mexican wrestling type masks. One guy had health, one guy had money. And health was giving money a headlock, and the referee was the coronavirus. Very simple color, like PG. There was nothing R-rated about it. There was nothing X-rated about it. Political cartoon. And trying to upload it to our YouTube page, but YouTube kept saying no. And the reason they gave, it turns out, is that they considered it a violation of their sex and nudity clause.
Because there was a nipple.
Now, have you ever watched wrestling where people were in burqas? If I would imagine there's some real thumbnails on YouTube of real wrestlers with real male nipples. This was literally a dot. Man. A dot at the bottom of the frame. Not meant to be any sort of shocking way, but just because that's how the human anatomy is shaped. Mine are a little lower, so if it was a picture of me, they'd probably be off the frame. Are you saying you got
saggy breasts, man? What's going on? I'm gonna drink to that.
These guys
saggy breasts.
These guys were in good breasts. These guys were in good shape, and unfortunately, it looked like our channel might not be in good shape. But then you click into it, and the very horrible thing about what YouTube did here is that they said, just so you know, you violated our sex and nudity policy. Don't worry. We know you probably did it by mistake, so we're not going to put a strike against your channel. So what they essentially did is, we're not going to fight you on this. You can't, but we're not penalizing you too hard. Meaning you can't appeal it, but don't worry. The channel's okay. The channel's safe. Well, oh, thanks. That's so gracious of you. And then, trying to forward the thing on Facebook, it said, this violates our spam policy, false advertising, or whatever the hell it was. So, look at the picture yourself. George, if you could, just post the picture maybe on the Instagram or something. And we already have it on Facebook. And basically, look at the picture. A cartoon, a PG, hand-drawn cartoon with limited realistic detail that happens to have a wrestler's nipple in it. Is that nudity? Or is that spam? Or maybe that's just a political cartoon criticizing the coronavirus response. I wonder, maybe that's the real issue. I don't know.
But it was a nitpick. It was a nitpick. Hashtag nitpick. I'm going to drink the nitpick. Hey, we love your artwork, Chris. We love your artwork.
We do.
You gave us a nipple, but you put a nipple in it, man. You gave us a hard-on nipple. What the hell? What were you thinking? So now all our marketing is done. We can't market anymore. Now I got to put it on the porn sites because now it's a porn shot. I mean, we want classy people on. Wait, Tim, you're classy though. Hold on. I shouldn't say that. People who watch porn are still classy. So I'll take that back. But still,
drink the porn.
Shout out to porn. Give us a porn here.
Well, but that's why well, that's the thing. That's the thing. They're taking a dirty mind and putting it somewhere it wasn't dirty. So then I started overanalyzing it. I'm like, maybe because it's a shot from the shoulders up that they think the guys aren't wearing pants. But he clearly has them. There's a referee there.
It has a lot to do with their analytics.
Have you ever seen a X-rated thing with a referee standing by?
No.
It could be interesting, but that's not what we did.
No,
so the fact, and then even on the Facebook end, the appeal process was quite limited. It said, we'll take your feedback into consideration, whether you think this was right or wrong for next time. And if we were just censored by one random algorithm on one random site, that would be one thing. But the fact is, when all these big players are all having an issue with something and you can't do anything about it, that's kind of messed up.
That's big tech, baby. That's big tech. That's big tech.
I mean, it's actually kind of interesting that you bring that up, because what I think I've seen a few videos, trying to sit there and boost some of our YouTube viewership. And by the way, subscribe to our channel and all that. But anyway, I've been watching a few videos about it. One of the things they were talking about was how important the thumbnail is. And they were sitting there saying one thing YouTube does is it sits there and scans your thumbnail, and it looks for similar patterns. It looks for similar things to see whether or not it can recommend you or not recommend you. So that's why the thumbnail is really important. And that's probably what it did, is it probably scanned it and it looked through it and said, oh, this is similar to some other, spam or some other person who posted, a dick pic or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what it's looking for? But yeah, I mean, What I totally agree with Chris on that, about the whole fact of them not allowing you the appeal process, or very, very limited appeal process. I've had a few YouTube channels, and I know George and Chris have both had Battle. I keep doing that. Battle and Chris have both had issues with YouTube and their censorship and their algorithm and trying to get stuff out there. I had my little channel there for a while, Cortex Television, by the way, hashtag CTexTV. And I've had it was even monetized there for a little while, and it wasn't uncommon where they would sit there and flag it for copyright violation. It was usually because of music, and the music was totally legal. In fact, it was music that I got from YouTube, where they said this is authorized to use, and they flagged it. And they sat there and they said, we are demonetizing this particular episode. And it's like, I go, okay, I mean, I wasn't making huge money on it at the time or anything like that, but it was like, the first 48 hours when you upload a video, that's the most critical and most important time. And if I'm making my livelihood off of that, if you demonetize it, if it takes, a week or so for them to get back to you and say, oh yeah, I guess you're cool, you're legal, you just lost half your money right there. So, I have big disagreements with that.
Also, so just for people who don't know, I used to do this channel. It was called Daddy Doyle, and basically what we did on the it's a little more racy. It's a trigger alert or whatever those are called now. But
no, and for people out there, he said, guys, he said racy, not racist. Because it sounds.
It was a little bit of that too, George. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your honesty.
But
primarily, I really don't like Italians either. I don't like Italians either. So go.
Well, primarily, what we did on the channel was we made big head videos, or at least the primary successful part of the channel was we made these big head videos, and what we did was we took old, primarily wrestling footage, like these crazy moments from wrestling, like Hulk Hogan turned to a bad guy, and then we put. The one that we really hit big on was we put LeBron James' head over Hulk Hogan and all the things and then it was when LeBron James left Cleveland to go to Miami. So it was like Hulk Hogan betrayed the fans and became a bad guy. And then with the big head superimposed on that, it looked like LeBron betrayed the Cleveland fans to go to Miami. So it was kind of like a political satire using like mashup, and it all fall within the internet. There's a clause on the internet called the mashup rule. And that says that you could create an original work of art using elements from other things that had previously been copyrighted. And then for the purposes of the internet, that's actually a form of copyright protection.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like a parody. It's a parody, right? It's like a parody.
Yeah, it was parody, satire, and I guess parody would be the better one. And then what happened over the years is that so we actually got 1 million views on that video. And what happened, though, over the years is that some of those videos in that vein we made, they'd be stricken down because they had content from, NBA or WWE or maybe some musical random content at the end. So in a way, it became over the course of time that stuff all got demonetized. And then the money filtered back to whoever the content owner was of the original content, which technically is not longer original. But I didn't really mind that because I am literally taking other people's stuff and cutting it together, which creates a weird situation where it's actually okay legally to do so, but maybe not to monetize it. So I totally got that. He didn't make shit off the stuff anyway, honestly. But what pissed me off was then years later, the videos basically getting taken down one by one due to legal claims that we weren't even allowed to show the footage, which is actually illegal to do that to me. So when you would then say, nope, this is wrong, internet mashup clause, this should stay up, it would get struck in again. You do that again. And then it got to the point where YouTube then said, hey, this is being contested by their side. And just so you know, should you decide to contest this again, this is now out of YouTube's hands and they could legally sue you, and you better be prepared to lawyer up to suit them back. So technically, in the eyes of the law, everything we're doing was absolutely fine, and it all fell into that internet mashup clause. But what am I going to do? Go up with a lawsuit against major corporations? So it's not exactly text censorship in that case, but it is, like, because of the algorithms and because there's a team of legal people and these algorithms that are made by big companies, the little guy kind of gets screwed just in terms of expressing themselves, because I didn't even mind the monetary issues at all. Look, the NBA took our idea. I mean, look, it was NBA Jam's idea first from the 90s with the big head stuff, but the NBA took our idea in the early 2010s and ran with that for a whole advertising campaign. It would be cool if they called me up to do the work, give me a little job. That would have been cool. But again, all of that was monetary. What actually was more infuriating was over the course of time being told, hey, we're not going to allow the public to see this anymore. And should you have a problem with it at this point, you're going to have to legally prove that in a court of law against potentially a major corporation.
Yeah.
And even if you're in the right, it's going to cost you a shit ton of money.
No, I got other shit to do, honestly.
Yep.
Right. And Chris, what were you saying, Tim?
Well, even if you're in the right, it's going to cost you a shit ton of money, and that's it. You might be morally right, you might be legally right, but it's like, can you sit there and, I mean, if somebody lawsuits get settled because they don't want to sit there and spend the money on it, it's like, all right, fine, you win. I'm not going to, I can't afford to go bankrupt over something I'm not making any money on them to begin with.
Right. And all they're doing, they're doing is just getting rid of the competition.
Yeah.
Setting it up for other organizations to do the same work and have and create basically the same content with better marketing, because I saw exactly what you said. The NBA took that whole idea and ran with it for 4 seasons or something, and nobody had not one problem with it. So, but
fine, and that didn't bother me as much as the other stuff.
Well, again, it's all a part of that censorship conversation. And we're going to continue to have more, because I know you're going to continue to press the issue with this in regards to all
I'm sorry. It just, censorship only benefits the powerful. It rarely, if ever, benefits the weak.
Good point. So that was your week. What's going on with you, Tim? How was your week, brother?
Not much. I got some new hours at work. I guess I could talk about that, but that's about the big change. Dude, I got to dance around that one. But
let me break out my water for this exciting conversation.
No, why would our fan base want to hear about your work schedule?
I don't know.
Shut the fuck up, Tim.
Well, it does
George,
affect.
that was your week.
It does affect our show. So now we had to kind of do an emergency
they
taping
don't know that. I mean, they don't. People don't know that.
I don't know.
Shut the fuck up,
but
Tim.
I don't want to censor Tim though. So
I know, right?
Is it 10? Is it 10 to 6?
No, do not.
Is it more of an 8 to 5?
No. I don't want to hear about your work schedule. I do not want to hear about your work schedule. No one wants to hear about it. I know I'm going to get beef about not letting Tim talk, but fuck it. I don't want to hear about your. Tell me something else about your week if you're going to tell me something. Otherwise, we're going to go to my.
I figured that was a little bit more light than talking about my uncle passing away from corona last week. I think that was a little. Yeah. I wanted to try to keep it on the lighter side, So
no, boy, I appreciate that. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna drink to a lighter week. Hold on for a second.
There you go.
How did the funeral? Because most of the people I've heard passing are in New York. How were just not to get too heavy, but how was the funeral regulations in California?
I have no idea. We haven't. I think he just got cremated, and I think that was it. I don't think we had a service or anything for him.
Okay.
So, because I don't think you're allowed to really go in any place now. I mean, they're really putting putting the hammer down on that one, or putting the kibosh.
Yeah.
Putting the kibosh down. Yes, yes. Well, listen. My week was
You
was
don't want to
busy.
hear Tim's hours?
No, I do not want to hear fucking Tim Hours. No, I do not. My week, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen. My week, along with this wonderful scotch here, my week was very
Poor
busy.
Tim.
Don't make people feel sorry. Then I'm going to hear this shit, Chris. Don't make people feel sorry.
We got to
for
get
him.
the truth out here. He works 11 to 7.
Oh my goodness! You blurted it out anyway. Oh shit! See, who's hosting the show? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Too much
It's like, all right, Tim, go ahead. Now that he already told us, tell us about your hours. Jeez.
Well, I get to work a Monday through Friday schedule, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
My last job, I was working.
Fucking Chris. Go ahead. Let him get it out. Go ahead, Sam. Tell us. Okay, so you work at 10. You're working now. American Lunchbox Podcast, friends and family. We love you guys, and
this kind of kills two birds with one stone, because every time I call my mom up, maybe I call her once a month or something, she'll always ask, so what hours are you working now? Well, see, now if I know she watches the show, so now she can know, these are now my hours now.
Tim, call your mother more often than one day a month, Tim. I mean,
breaking news: man receives Monday to Friday shift.
Oh man,
we said this show was so packed we had to throw some news stories away, but not this one.
I mean, write it on a billboard outside of his house. I mean, all right. So now that you've gotten that out, it's like a hemorrhoid. Now that has, like a damn kidney stone. Now that we've passed that. My week was extremely busy. Based on what we talked about in the last podcast, we've already started putting together packages for the loans that will be coming out. Hopefully, when the federal government passes the next stimulus package, I've been working aggressively with two organizations to build packages so that we can help assist these businesses. Again, those who have failed, those who are still working, and those businesses that will obviously need some type of stimulus to get them back up and going once we get out of this. So I'm extremely excited about that work. That's quite my purpose these last few days, and I'm excited about it. So that was my week, but there were some other great things that for some people a little less. A little more suspicious, but guys, we got a vaccine. We can't talk about this show and right now and not mention the fact that we got a vaccine. And the vaccine is being ushered out and pushed out, disseminated across the world now. The UK started a couple of weeks ago, and Dr. Fauci and other folks in the federal government and the CDC are giving this thing the thumbs up to start disseminating here in the States. It's something to be excited for. And I know that for me, I'm a little suspicious. For several reasons, and which we're going to be talking about over several shows. So I won't try to go all into that. But I guess the first question that we're going to start with is, Tim, are you going to take the vaccine?
Well, I'll be honest, I was a little hesitant about it because of the fact that it was put out there so fast and then it was rushed out. And I'll tell you, Trump did not do anybody any favors. Now, not Trump himself, but I think one of his secretaries or whatever had threatened the head of the CDC to go out there and if they did not approve this vaccine for emergency use that day, that he was going to get fired. And I was like, why the fuck would you do that? Seriously, that does not build public confidence in this new vaccine. And people are already hesitant enough about it. That doesn't do shit. But I think, for me, I was a little hesitant about it, just because it is new. It was rushed. It was, it's under Trump's little purview there. But I think now that it's going to be before I even get it, before me, you, anybody, most of the general public is allowed to get it. Thousands of people are going to be receiving this. It's going to be hospital workers, first responders, people in nursing homes. They're going to be getting it. So I think any and all side effects are going to be. I hate to say it, they're going to be the guinea pigs on this. So I think by the time I'm allowed to get it, I think they're going to work out all the bugs. So I'll take it.
Up?
I know it is.
People who were the most in danger and the most at risk the whole time might be the people that have potentially negative side effects. Yeah.
That's right. But Tim, let me ask you this: does it make you feel any better that your new president is going to get it first?
Well, see, that's the thing. If it wasn't for the fact that first responders and people that are I think have a lot of value in our society are going to be getting it first. If it wasn't for that, I love the fact that a lot of these rich people and politicians are trying to bump themselves up to the head of the line to get it first. I would absolutely laugh if it caused some weird severe side effect about that. It's like, serves you right for trying to get ahead of the line. You turned into a zombie.
Now that's very interesting. Now, Iceman, cool your trunks here. Iceman, are you telling me that, because I led in with your president, your new president, the one you voted for, president. Mr. Democrat.
Me too.
Yes. Thank you so much for reminding me. We don't know who you voted for, so don't even talk, young man. I led with your president, your new president. Do you feel more comfortable now that he's going to be taking it? And
about the same, honestly.
Okay. About the same. Well, Chris, do you feel more comfortable about taking it?
I just want to know which celebrity.
Hold on. Because I know how you get. Let me get the damn question out. Because I know you're going to talk all over me and shit. I know, but let me get the question out. Does it make you feel more comfortable, Chris, that your past three presidents, that would be Bush, Clinton, and Obama, are going to be taking it first as well? Does that make you feel more comfortable about taking this new vaccine?
It makes me about as comfortable as when Obama drank that water in Flint, Michigan.
A shout out to Flint, Michigan, and that water. And it looks about, if on Facebook or wherever you're watching this on YouTube, this is about the color it was at Flint water. So shout out to that Flint water and Obama drinking that water, by the way. Go ahead. And I'm almost done. Almost done.
He was sipping it slower than you have. No, I mean that's like PR. That means nothing to me. What we need to see is mass numbers. What happens to mass people? Like, because if there's 0.1% of people who have mild symptoms with a gigantic sample size, that's a lot different than like, hey, 5% of people drop dead. So, which I don't think will happen. But these are private companies that made these, and then one company said, hey, ours is 90% effective. The next company said, ours is 95% effective. And then the first company came back and said, oh, we're also 95% effective. So, I mean, I know people who said they know doctors, and the doctors really say, oh, this is really the real deal and good stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of information otherwise on the internet that says not. But a friend brought up a really good point. We won't have to worry about batch 1. But what we'll have to worry about is batch 5. Do we wait till batch 10 or do we take batch 5? So it's kind of going to be like a wait and see approach.
Well,
do you have mesothelioma, or did you in 2020 take the coronavirus vaccine on batch 2? If so, can you please call Jacoby and Meyer real quick?
Oh my goodness!
Were your hours changed at work?
Tim, shut the fuck up. Oh my goodness!
I really want to hear what celebrity, George. I really want to hear what celebrity Tim really hates and wishes died of a bad coronavirus vaccine batch.
Because the celebrities are going to go to the front of the line.
To drop?
Oh my goodness! Okay, all right, hold on. All right, so
I'll leave it.
Okay, leave it for the next. Leave it for the next corona vaccine conversation. So, would I take it The answer is hell no. I'm not going to take it until I know for sure. They've already found in the UK that people with allergies shouldn't take it, or they should take it in the actual doctor's office where they could actually get what would be the EpiPen in order to counteract the actual vaccine. So the UK is already finding issues with this vaccine. So it's almost like what we hear when Pfizer has a commercial for a new medicine that helps your blood pressure or your diabetes. About 1/3 of the commercial is trying to get you to get it. The other 2/3 of the commercial is trying to tell you how many side effects could happen if you have these things. If you have high blood pressure, if you're suffering from blood clots, if you have, diabetes in your family, we've all seen these commercials. So at a certain point, me being extremely conspiratorial about how the government issues out vaccines makes me a lot leery. Take a minute and look up the Tuskegee Project, and you're going to see how they purposely inoculated black men, and this is not a conspiracy. This happened real life. Inoculated black men with a virus in order to see what the repercussions would have been. And unfortunately, black men volunteered for it because they thought they were doing the service, but they purposely inoculated them, and it ran rampant through our community. So we won't even talk about the crack epidemic. We won't even talk about the ways that our communities black communities have been annihilated with certain things superimposed into our communities. So yes, I'm extremely hesitant about taking the vaccine. But here's the reality. I've done very well about keeping myself bunkered in and being safe. But the truth is, if I get sick, God forbid, and I have to go over to the hospital, they're going to give it to me regardless. They're going to give me the vaccine regardless. So it's up to me now to stay healthy so that I won't be in line for it. So people, if you're out there, you have to continue to stay safe if you are suspicious of this and you want to see. Now, be mindful, we only got 2 months of data, just 2 months of data to support this. We don't know what the long-term effect of this is, but Joe Biden will. And we'll just have to watch him. We'll have to watch to see how people respond to this. Chris, what say ye?
And we don't know exactly what the potential enforcement of this is going to be, but it's easy enough to speculate. I'll give you my personal feelings on this. Besides the fact that I would like to wait and see how the first couple of batches go, I'd also like to specifically read into the exact science behind the thing. But I think the real conspiracy stuff is more around, will states and or private businesses force you to have some sort of vaccination card for travel or just showing up to work, which on the biblical people will say mark of the beast, right? On a governmental level, they'll just say, well, we don't want to be held liable. Or on a private business level, we don't want to be held liable. But I guess let me just tell my personal story, right? So, I don't know I think we talked about this on the show. I was considering going to New York for the holidays. Sounds crazy to just do that right now during a pandemic for the holidays, but I actually accepted the ticket. Right, I got the ticket, but then I canceled. Now, keep in mind my other health.
Well, Chris, when did you decide to cancel though?
A couple days ago.
So you just recently decided to cancel. So you had this ticket for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, but I was so half on the fence the whole time. I mean, besides the medical stuff, there's so many hoops to jump through and so many issues with coordinating. Okay. But now keep in mind, I was cleared on the medical end. My issue that I talked about on the other show is done with. I'm good. I could go and I'd probably survive. Let's put it that way. But the problem is why. First of all, but also I don't want to get anyone sick. But besides all of that stuff, to get into New York, the list of regulations right now, before a vaccine is even available, is ridiculous. And it's very easy to make the conclusion that it's going to be more ridiculous and more restrictive once there's a vaccine that they could say, prove you have this or else. Because the or else is massive amounts of fines, and we're talking about a state that's going bankrupt. So once they're done fining all the local businesses, I'm sure they'll move on to the individuals. And one of my reasons for even wanting to travel is because I don't know what the next year holds. I don't know if you're going to need a potential vaccination card to travel. I don't know if I'll be comfortable doing that for the time being. So I thought before Biden gets in there, before we see all what happened here in LA on a national level, then maybe just slide in and slide out with this trip real quick.
Right.
But that is probably not a right reason to take a trip. But just the very fact that I don't really know what the future holds here is what was putting me in this weird mental state in the first place, honestly. So a lot of this is uncertainty, and a lot of this is, I don't mean to come off as conspiratorial, but I just don't trust I don't trust that these people who are just making massive decisions at a high level that affects everyone at once, that there won't be some casualties or people that just get screwed over by the results. Right. And you don't have to be black or Spanish to feel that way. I think everyone feels that way. I haven't heard one person say, woohoo, right here, me first. I haven't heard that.
And
I haven't heard that from liberal people. I have not heard that.
And you won't hear it. The only people that are going to say that are politicians at this point, and the ones who want to give the public safety and to encourage people to go get it because they see that it is linked to the economy, or it's linked to getting the country back up and going. Those are the only folks that I see out there who are saying, oh, and of course the Pfizer and of course CDC. I mean, those folks who, again, embedded in the system. Those folks that are not embedded in the system, shit, man. You can't. There won't be long lines like it was to vote for this. There won't be a long line. There won't be early voting or early. Give me the early vaccination. It won't be any of that shit for sure. But like you said, there may be a companies that will require you to have some kind of proof that you've been vaccinated or inoculated before they'll let you come back into the office. But we've had this conversation before, and I think all of us, except for you, Tim, who at the time was working in the office at the time. But I know Chris and I both said when we were talking about this, is would you go back to the office? And I remember saying very, very distinctively, no, I would not go back to the office. So if you're going to hold my job as some kind of ransom or some kind of blackmail point that I can't get back into the office in order to do my job unless I have this thing, no problem. I'll just stay home. Now, until you make it such that I can't stay home, now we start getting into some sticky business. Now we look at our savings. Now we start saying, wait, we got this business over here that's profiting for me. We got things in place to say that no, I don't have to succumb to your threats. So it's all about how you're going to position yourself as this thing comes down.
Well, one thing
this is how militias get started, by the way. Forced vaccination of the mass public. The amount of militias is going to triple if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just going to happen.
I also want to know, how effective is it? Is it going to be something that we're going to have to do every year, like the flu shot? How many people what percentage of the population has to get vaccinated in order for this to be effective? I mean, I was sitting there talking to a friend of mine at work, and first thing he said is like, oh, there was a vaccine that's being deployed. Woo, yeah, we can get back to normal. Okay. And like I said, I'm sure if you followed up with that with what Chris was saying was, will you be the first to take it? They'd probably say hell no. Because nobody wants to be the first in line. Nobody wants to be the guinea pig on it. But on the same note, I think we definitely want to get back to normal. And if that's what this is, as long as it's proven that it's safe, it's effective, it's got all the science to back it up, then I have no problem with taking this thing. I mean, I would love to get back to normal. I was thinking about that the other day. What is normal? I think we've gotten so used to over the last year of just sitting in our homes and not being able to go anywhere, not being able to see friends and family. And it's like I was sitting there thinking, I go, oh wow, I remember being able to do that. I remember being able to go to my family's Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas dinners and being able to travel and go wherever I wanted to go. I think it was last year at a job I was at, I won during the Christmas party. I won free tickets to Disneyland. And I was so excited about it. It was like, oh, wow, we got to go to Disneyland. This is great. And it was a good time and it was fantastic. And, and it's like this last year, it's like no Christmas parties, no trips to Disneyland. No, we can't go anywhere, can't do anything. So,
Tim, you don't want to go to Disneyland and have Goofy go, huh, you're not a Vax Dodger, are you? Hold on.
I think a cool ride though,
Yeah, but here's one of the other questions in regards to the vaccine that people have to ask, that because we don't have a lot of data, we don't even know how long it'll last.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't know if we don't know. We already know that you need two shots. You need the first shot and you need the booster shot. And they're saying, and I'm saying this because that's what they're saying, is that the first shot will give you about 50, which just sounds like a round number, don't you think? They wouldn't have said 55. They wouldn't have said 35. They say 50. They say 50% cover in regards to getting the virus. It gives you that much protection, okay? And then once you get the booster shot, right, some week or 2 weeks after that, then that will get you up to 95%. But notice there's still a 5% gap there that if you are exposed to it, you may or may not get it. So there's definitely some fudging, and I'm saying that we'll continue to have this conversation as we get more information, as we begin to understand what the vaccine is and how it works. We're going to report back to our listeners as to what ladies and gentlemen out there in podcast land, as I am closing down the show. You guys have been listening to us for over an hour. Guess what's happening here? If you're on the YouTube channel, you already see this. But Christopher, again, has his hand raised as I have to prompt to him because yes, Christopher?
George, did you see that interview where Dr. Fauci was talking about, they asked Dr. Fauci, why don't the black community want it? And he's like, well, my black brothers and sisters out there need to take this vaccine, and we're gonna talk to the local leaders. We're gonna get our black brothers and sisters on board with this vaccine.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing. I didn't mind Fauci saying it like that. I actually he earned some credit for me. It's much like what Bill Clinton did with the black community, even though he ended up dicking them with the crime bill. But he was one of those ones that we used to say he was the first black president. I don't know if you heard this rhetoric before. It's insane, but right. So when Fauci actually did that, I kind of gave him a pass. I mean, it's kind of like I gave him half the black card pass. I mean, obviously he can't say the N-word, but but I said, what the hell? Go ahead, Fauci, do your thing. Fuck it. Call us out. Call us your brothers and sisters.
He's a nerdy, geeky person. So you're right. I didn't hear the interview, but I give him a free pass on that one.
I give him a pass on that shit. But also,
the other thing, George, is that you brought up a good point about the needing a booster shot. Is that during that first shot, that's when people are having, maybe the allergic reaction, or maybe that's what they said that really kind of knocks you out. It's like getting the flu shot. Well, if you get this, let's say you get that first shot and it knocks you out for a couple hours, it knocks you out for a day, because it is like taking a gunshot wound or something. How likely are you to get that second shot? And that's where the CDC and doctors and medical staff, that's where they're going to have to really do a good public campaign to sit there and try to convince people to come back a month later. Oh, and yeah, keep yourself safe in that month, because we still don't know the effectiveness of it. We still don't know what. Yeah, so there's a lot. I think they've got the CDC and all these public agencies have got their hands full with trying to convince people to take this thing, and it's going to be interesting.
That's it. And that's why I thank God for my white friends. My black friends ain't going to do it. But I thank God for my white friends, because I can sit back and watch it just like this. I can sit back and say, Tim, you go get it. You go get it, Tim. What's that patch under your eyes, Tim? What's that? What are those leads? Yeah, you go get. I mean, Tim, you go ahead. Because I know already. That for us who are sitting on the side of conspiracy, or like, Fauci is saying, what Fauci is saying is that the way to the Black community is through trust. You see, this is the way to the Black community. Is through trust. Is to build trust, and the way to build trust is to bring your friends like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Bring them into the fold. Bring the Rainbow Coalition
those
down.
Trustworthy individuals.
Yeah. Bring those people. And don't get me wrong. I got mad respect for Jesse, and I got mad respect for Al. They serve their purpose. But those are the buffers that start to pop up in the Black community at these places, and those are the ones who are going to be talking, and we're going to be seeing bring out the olive leaf for government to say, hey guys, take this spoonful of Kool-Aid, and so that's what Fauci is saying. So when Fauci says to me, yo, my Black brothers and sisters, my Latinas hermanos and hermano, I got it. I'm for you guys. I hear you.
What if Fauci came out and said, I'd like to say something to my white brothers and sisters?
Hey man, look, we got to get out of here, man.
We gotta go.
You guys, we kept the ear of these people for the last hour, almost over an hour. You guys are gonna bitch at me about how long the show is, and you're gonna keep us going all this. Chris, don't raise your hand again. I'm wrapping up the show. Don't raise your hand again. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we close the show, as I try to close the show for the third time, I've tried to close this show. We're going to keep our eye on the vaccine. We won't make it. This will not be a vaccine show, but we're going to make sure that we keep our eyes on it. We're going to make sure that it's a part of our dialogue to make sure that you all have the information. Now, I always say this, and I appreciate everyone out there who has been DMing me and sending me information personally about what we talk about. I thank you guys, and for those of you all who sent me things that I haven't talked about, because I know you guys have been sending me things, we're going to get to those things in other shows. But please, if there's something out there that you want us to talk about, or something that you've heard, put it in the comments. Let us know that you're out there. Shout out. We appreciate you listening, but we do love the back and forth. Give us. This is a call and response. We call, you respond. So respond to us and let us know. Okay. Now, typically we do last shout outs, but I don't even want to hear nothing from these guys no more because they've been talking. But I'm going to give them 30-second shout outs. Tim, what's your shout out?
I yield to the man with his hand up.
That would be you, Chris. What are your shout outs for this week?
This is a shout at. In the last month, we've seen police from all over the world break into people's houses for coronavirus things, whether they be left or right. In Australia, a woman's house was broken into because she was trying to organize a anti-lockdown protest. In Florida, it was quite the opposite. Right-wing state at the moment broke into the woman's house because she was refusing to fudge the CDC data because she wanted to say the coronavirus was as worse as she was seeing it. So, special screw you to all the people who have used this, whether left or the right, to be authoritarians. And you have not helped the situation at all.
Yes, as we don't politicize health. We can politicize all things, but not health. Guys, listen, I got a swallow left. Nice. I did it. Thank you for your support out there for my brown liquor. I actually finished my glass. Most of you all are going to say, George, don't drink espresso anymore. Drink the brown liquor because we love how you. I know I'm going to hear it. But guys, it's been fun.
George looks at his liquor cabinet and says, "Shout out to all my brown brothers and sisters."
That's right. That's right. I'm not going to shout out the liquor until they pay me for it because I believe in monetization. So I'm not going to shout out the liquor I drink until we get paid for it. Fuck that. It's not going to happen. So anyway, guys, thank you guys. We appreciate you guys listening. It's American Lunchbox Podcast. In the words of Clarence Patterson, my pops, don't ever let the times change the lines in your smile. We love you guys. Peace.